Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by John Cartwright and Ash Paulson to discuss the overview trailer, I suppose, for the hero in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, let's get started. And yeah, no live stream this time, even though Sakurai kept saying they're going for a sort of live stream format with their presentation. For budgetary reasons, apparently. It's a little weird to think about considering how much money Smash has made. But still, we got a nice 22-minute presentation from Sakurai that showed off pretty much every aspect of the Dragon Quest hero. And what do you guys think?
It feels like there's a lot of love going into this. You can tell from this entire presentation that Japan loves Dragon Quest, and it seems Sakurai just wants to make that audience happy. And they also tried, I think, to show the Western audiences how important this franchise is. And I hope that came across to a lot of people, because it did come across to me. And it seems like they're doing the hero a great deal of justice.
Yeah, I think that that section at the beginning of the video where he specifically talks about the significance of the Dragon Quest series was clearly aimed at, Western fans who may not be as familiar with the series and why it's so important. So I'm glad it was there. Obviously, the three of us already know Dragon Quest is huge, but it's good that it's there because I don't think there's a lot of hype in the West for Hero. So that's nice to see. And yeah, I agree with you, John. There is a lot of love going into this character just from the sheer amount of moves available, which we know for sure Hero has more moves than anybody else in the game, which is crazy. And I will say, though, I kind of felt like the budget thing was tongue-in-cheek, but I don't want them to go with this format again. It was right, fine, but it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't have the oomph that a prepared video, like a direct style video, does from them, especially Sakurai.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of why it feels like there's no hype at the moment, because there wasn't a live chat, there wasn't a giant view count showing us how many people are watching in real time. It kind of felt flat, but it's hard to say if it wouldn't be flat if it was live streamed. Is it just how it's delivered?
It's hard to say, but I was still invested in what he was saying, but you're right in that it wasn't exciting in how it was presented. It was cool to see all the moves lined up, but even the whole bit where they talked about all the voice actors for the characters, that was definitely aimed at the Japanese audience.
Yeah.
I appreciate Dragon Quest as much as the next guy, well, probably more than the next guy in this case, but yeah, I don't think the voice actors matter that much, especially with the grunts. Although we do get the Link grunts for the hero, so the air drink, I guess it is. So
right, he voiced the character in was it Smash 64 and Melee? That's super cool to have him back.
Mm-hmm. That is cool.
But I love that entire segment though, where they're just like, here's 4 different characters voiced by these different actors, and they will just go, huh.
Yeah.
But you're right though, because in Japan, Dragon Quest protagonists aren't usually voiced. I think 11S is the first time they've ever had any voice actors in Dragon Quest. So this is kind of a big deal for them.
Yeah, and voice actors are kind of deified in Japan in a way that they are not here, or in the West, I should say. So that was definitely aimed at the Japanese audience, but I thought it was cool. It's nice, especially for that audience. There's so many people who are so hardcore about this, and this is what they've been waiting for, so they're going into the nitty-gritty. So maybe for those of us who aren't hardcore fans, it felt like they were kind of filling time, but I think it was really cool that they went that in-depth for the hardcore fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was overall just, I think, a very solid presentation that showed why the hero belongs here. And should we get into the move list? Because, my God.
Oh, man.
So I was completely off on my analysis of how the hero might work with all of his different moves. It turns out you got the 3 elemental spells as different charges for the normal special, side specials, and up specials, and then the command menus is all from the down special, and wow, there's a lot.
He has so many different specials, and of course we won't know until we see him in practice. We play him as ourselves, or play as him ourselves, kind of see how he evolves. But just on paper, he looks like he's going to need some tweaking. He seems like he could be a bit OP just in terms of all the crazy different options he has at any given moment. He has so many things he can do, which, even Sakurai says he has more moves than any other character in terms of numbers. So, I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like, oh, he's totally broken without, playing as him. But he does seem like he might need a little tweaking. That NP recovery rate seems like it's kind of fast. We'll see. I don't know. But I'm like a little like, ooh, he looks like he's going to be really strong.
It's hard to say, because I think he might balance himself with the MP management. Some moves took out half of his MP gauge.
True.
And think about how many moves you actually use in the Smash match. You're going to have to be really conservative about what you use. And he seems rather slow compared to a lot of other characters.
He does.
And I know he has a speed buff in his move list, but again, that's using even more magic to use that. So I think even though he does look really powerful and has lots of different options, I think he still might be able to balance himself out using that MP gauge.
Yeah.
Right.
That said, his normal moves look pretty potent. The fact that he can shield things pretty naturally, and that I love this element that was added in. It's so fitting for a Dragon Quest character. But the fact that they have critical hits that randomly pop up.
Yeah. That, like, see, the fact that he has that on top of all his different options, and the, I think it's Psych Up that can power up your next move. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure the probability is super low, but what if you get that, you land that, and a critical hit? It just seems like he's got so many things that just elevate him, you know, because you don't see other characters getting critical hits. However, again, we haven't played as him, we can't say yet, so he may be perfectly well-balanced, but I did not expect him to have so many different combat options from that command menu.
We watched it all together, and I think one of my favorite moments is when they introduced thwack, and John was like, "What?" Like, he was just not used to that idea, and I'm actually kind of happy thwack is there, because it's kind of this long running joke, especially with a certain character in Dragon Quest IV, about how where the allies were computer controlled, and they would just constantly, the one character would constantly try to use thwack, and it would never work because it is such a low percentage chance of hitting. So it seems like a good finisher move than anything else, and even then it's not guaranteed to work. But I like that element of the hero where he's really powerful, but a lot of his stuff is kind of reliant on chance.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, it is worth noting that the command menu does give you random options. So just because you want to use really whatever you want, you might not get it when it comes up on the command menu. So there is that too. He does seem like there is you really have to be kind of lucky as well, situationally.
Yeah, and you can't just spam either, because I think one of his spells, was it Kamikaze? Where he just explodes and takes his own stock while doing a giant explosion. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you're not really paying attention, you accidentally use that. Like, this can be a really reckless feature if you don't know what you're doing.
I'm really curious to see how that's going to be handled at, like, tournaments, like Evo, for example. Like, will that count as a win if you give up your last stock, but take out the other person's last stock with that self-destruct move? Do you win, or does that count as like a Bowser side and you don't win? I'm kind of curious what they're going to do.
Don't know. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. I'd love to see a match decided like that. That'd be kind of awesome.
That'd be so hype.
I'd be very curious. It seems like it's the most useful in timed matches, but I also love how they have the I forget the move, but the move where you're completely invulnerable, and then there's another move specifically designed to counteract that with Metal Slash,
which is so cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's really cool. But we also talked about how if you get the metal box, well, that person's screwed if the hero's around.
Right? I mean, it's just like that gives Hero one of those very specific, like, situational advantages that other characters don't have. Like, for example, when there are, like, ignitable boxes on the stage, like the fire boxes, if you're playing as, like, Mario or Palutena, you have a unique advantage there because you have the fire-based moves. So this gives Hero something that nobody else has, and it's quite interesting.
It's going to make those circumstances really hype, though. Like, imagine a scenario where you happen to get that metal spell in your spell list. Someone happens to get the metal cap.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. And
right.
it's something, and just because it can counter that doesn't mean that it's going to happen all the time.
Exactly.
So when it does happen, that's just going to feel so exciting to pull off.
I can imagine some pretty hype tournament moments where somebody's playing as the hero, they get knocked off the stage and it doesn't seem like they can recover. They bring up this command list and Zoom happens to be there, so they can use Zoom to get back. And since this is a tournament setting, they won't actually hit their heads on anything. But hey, the hero's back.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like a more random form factor of what Shulk can do with his Monado arts, because he can, obviously augment his jump and his speed and whatever, but he can pick those. Hero can't, but he can still do it.
Right. And even like critical hits are going to be extremely hype as well. Like, imagine in a tournament scenario, someone's like a stock down, and it seems like they're going to lose, and all of a sudden they just do their smash attack, and he like instantly KO the other person. I think Hero, I think if you're lucky, Hero's going to be a great character. If you're not lucky, then you might even have some bad games, not because of your own skill, but because you weren't given the moves that you wanted to get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as we were also noting before, he does seem to be a little on the slower side, so that might help balance him out a bit as well. including his air movement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to try out all of his moves. I mean, to just go into the randomness aspect, there's a specific move called Hocus Pocus, which adds another random effect that can happen to you, whether it's good or bad. So it's definitely all about that luck of the draw when it comes to the hero. And I don't know, I really appreciate that.
I'll be honest, when they debuted the Hero E3, I was a little bit worried that he'd play a bit too similarly to Robin, but after seeing that trailer, all that fear is just out the window. Like, he seems really distinct, and while he does have those distinguished building up special attacks like Robin does, I feel like the actual execution is really different. He's a really distinguished character compared to Robin.
I mean, they specifically said it once again ties back into that MP management, where you can have it charged up and ready to go, but if you don't have the MP for it, it's going to be a dud.
Right, and obviously, that segment of the community has been like, "Oh, Hero's another anime swordsman." I mean, yeah, he's another anime-looking swordsman from a video game, but he continues to play differently from other swords people in the game. So
he's also kind of the anime swordsman.
He's also, it's true, he is the. It's a very good point. So yeah, I think he looks appreciably different from characters like Robin and Lucina and and Ike and such. So yeah, Cloud even. So I think there's definitely room for another sword user in the roster, just because Hero is pretty unique.
Yeah,
absolutely. If they wanted to really change it up, they should have given him his boomerang from the games.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of covers a lot of how the hero plays. What do we think of the Yggdrasil's Altar stage?
It's beautiful.
It looks great.
It looks kind of traditional, though, is the only thing. The just the platform placements, it seems kind of like Skyloft, and that's sort of the thing we've seen before. But just the background is what makes it distinct, and it looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it really does. It did initially remind me of Skyloft. Like, that was the first thing I saw, but then it kind of spins off into its own thing, and it is a really beautiful stage to behold. And at first, as we were watching, I was like, oh, this seems to be a pretty basic stage, and it is, except then you have the element of the treasure chests that come up on the sides, which can also be mimics if you're not careful, which I think is really cool. Derek, I know you love that bit in particular.
When I first saw the treasure chest show up, it's like, there better be a mimic. Please let there be a mimic in there. And sure enough, they showed up, and because it's, again, a very iconic part of the Dragon Quest series. And I love how they snuck in all those sound effects from the series that really just emphasize the hero and where he comes from.
It was funny. I was almost wondering if they were going to be cheeky enough to make his hero's victory theme literally just that little brrr that happens after the battles in Dragon Quest. I was like, will they actually do that? They didn't.
I would have loved it if they did.
That would have been so cool if they did. But yeah, no, I think Yggdrasil's Altar looks really cool. It almost kind of reminds me of Umber Clock Tower in a way, in the sense that it's a basic traveling stage with the occasional gimmick that's unique to that stage specifically.
And I will say, I do appreciate just having more stages in general, because while Smash Ultimate has a giant selection, only like 6 or 7 of them are unique to Ultimate. So just having that list grow a tiny bit is really appreciated.
Right.
Agreed.
Now, there is one part of the stage I think all of us do not like, and I am personally offended by, and that is the music selection. Not that Dragon Quest music isn't great, not that it isn't great, we're getting 8 of them, but they're all the MIDI versions, and I'm okay with MIDI, but these don't sound great. I never thought Dragon Quest MIDI sounded great. I still don't, and it's just a bummer to get those versions in Smash, especially since, as you pointed out, Derek, when we were watching it, Dragon Quest VIII had an orchestrated soundtrack in the West, and Dragon Quest XI's is getting an orchestrated soundtrack. So why not use those versions?
I don't know. There's
2 words.
There's a long
Yuji
controversy.
Yuji Horii,
exactly. There's a big controversy about Dragon Quest's music, and a lot of the reason is because he wants to sell more concert tickets. So he gives you the MIDI track so you go and see it live. And the problem is, though, is 11, just 11 in general. I think that's one of the weaker soundtracks in the series, and it sounds better orchestrated. It actually sounds pretty good orchestrated, but the quality of the MIDI versions of 11 aren't good in my opinion.
Yeah.
And when we heard 8 in the trailer, that didn't sound so bad. But when 11 came along, it was the Overworld music, and it loses a lot of its charm when it's in this format, and it's just super disappointing that a series that often celebrates music has gone for the lowest quality they could have.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's definitely more of a... I want to say Square Enix, but honestly, I could put it right at the feet of Yuji Horii about what kind of quality was going to go in there, and the fact that there are no remixes or anything like that. It's very basic in that sense, and it definitely sucks, especially because Dragon Quest is sometimes traditional to a fault, and the MIDI music is a prime example of that. I mean, these are good songs, they're just not presented in the best way, which is the unfortunate part. It's like, we recognize this is good music, it's just, come on, throw us a bone here.
Yeah, and it's like, there's no shortage of original tracks ripped directly from their games in Smash, but in most cases, the synthesizers used in those songs sound great. There's no problem there. The ones here just don't sound great. That's, it's a case-by-case basis, and I just don't think Dragon Quest MIDI music sounds all that good in general compared to something like FF7, for example. Obviously we only got 2 songs in Midgar, and that sucks, but nobody's complaining that, the battle and boss themes sound bad because they're MIDI. Those just happen to be better samples.
I do love the fact that we still only got 2 songs per game.
I know. Square coming through yet again.
True.
Yeah.
And this was never going to happen, but I was hoping that they could possibly get different composers to try it and have their own unique take on these tracks. Now, obviously, with the actual composer of Dragon Quest, that's not going to happen. But that would have been super cool if they went for that opportunity, but of course they didn't.
Yeah. I will say in general, not that there needs to be a direct comparison, but if we're talking about DLC specifically, I think in general Mementos and its music are just a lot stronger. I like the design of Mementos. It's a lot more unique than anything in Smash that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Whereas Yggdrasil's Altar, it's cool and it works for Dragon Quest. It's an iconic location, but it looks like some other stages we've seen and it isn't that different layout-wise. So I think just in general, I've got a little less hype going into this DLC pack for the stage and music than I did the Persona pack, just because that stage is still one of my favorites in the game.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And, which is funny considering it's Mementos, which nobody really likes in Persona 5.
I know, right?
Right. The thing about Joker as well is Joker is one of the most out there characters. The hero is super iconic. Joker is he is iconic in and of itself, but he's not like a cultural icon. So to have him being a DLC character, that was a big WTF moment. Whereas Hero, he was going to come eventually. It's taken a long time for him to come to Smash, but it was going to happen eventually. So I think just the hype of the 2 characters, they're different, because Hero's more of an expectation, Joker's just a completely out there pick.
Yeah, agreed. But I guess the last little bit of associated with this pack, I mean, you still have to buy it separately. It's not part of the Fighters pack, but we did get new Mii costumes, and we got some from Veronica. We got some of the hero from Dragon Quest 1, I believe. A martial artist fighter class.
Mii Brawler costume, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the best thing of all, best Mii costume ever, the slime hat, which actually jiggles.
I gotta get that.
Yeah, I mean, I never play as Mii Fighters, but I'm buying that.
Yeah, just in case I ever want to use it. 75 cents, that's okay. I can handle that.
Put myself in a slime hat, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's totally worth it.
They should sell that in real life.
Right? Well, they would, but it's Square, so it'll be super overpriced.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the last surprise for this whole presentation is that it's coming today, not tomorrow. It is releasing today. We don't know exactly when today, likely later at night, but yeah, it is coming.
We can be sure, or mostly sure, that whenever the scheduled time is for him to be released, we'll probably get him 4 hours later.
Probably.
Let's see how much they've improved since Joker.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them that much hope.
No. Yeah.
It is still technically tomorrow for Europe, which is why they tweeted about it being tomorrow from the NOE account. So that leak that they made themselves was still legit. And I bet they're kicking themselves because they probably weren't meant to do it at that time, which is why they deleted the tweets.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh well. You guys ready for the error game?
Oh God. Yeah, here we go. Well, I guess before we wrap up, we should talk about some of the stuff that's coming along with Hero in the 4.0 patch. Not that it's kind of like a step back and a step forward, I guess, because we're getting online tournaments, which is cool. But now we don't know this for sure, but the wording made it sound like you can't actually create your own tournament. So they're just going to be events hosted on Nintendo's side where you can join, and they'll just occasionally change up the rules. And once again, with something online, if that's the case, they're giving us something we want, but they're kneecapping it because it's online, and it drives me crazy.
I totally agree with you, because the reason we haven't been able to stream Smash much is because I want to play with other, the fans. I want to actually get in there, and
right.
The Wii U online tournaments were a great way to do that. I might not have played with everybody, but hey, we were in there. We were actually fighting some of the people, and it was fun. And if it's set up so maybe they have it preset. You just like say this sort of thing, and maybe you can have a tournament where your friends can join, but it's not clarified that way. It just seems to be like, hey, enter a tournament and you can win it and go through this, and it'll change up the rules as you play, and you're still basically playing online. You're just going through a set rather than have to wait for the next person. And there is a sense of accomplishment of winning that kind of tournament, but I still want to have the option to play with friends or whoever I want.
Exactly. That's the thing, is I played about one whole tournament with randos in Smash 4 online, because you don't want to play with random people. And I mean, yeah, some people do, but I'd rather play with my friends. And why not let us? What is it with Nintendo and like playing with your friends online? I don't understand this. but so there's that. I do like the fact that they're adding the Smash Wii U thing from spectator mode, where you can predict the winner and get some points. I mean, if I hadn't already bought everything, that would be even cooler. But I still think that's neat that they're adding it. I guess the other thing, I mean, they're bringing balance changes. I'm crossing my fingers they don't nerf Mega Man at all. Please don't. But yeah, I'm excited. It's always exciting to get new Smash content at all. But I will say that the 4.0 patch feels a little less exciting in terms of the new stuff that's getting added alongside the new character and stage.
Yeah.
What I'm picturing is they've nerfed Mega Man so much that his Mega Buster doesn't even launch bullets anymore. You just press A, get the sound effect,
like
no
little
bullets.
just little air puffs. Yeah.
Yeah, puffs of smoke. Oh goodness, yeah. The change, I kind of do appreciate the change to the final Smash meter, where it will gradually run out, because I have seen that before, where in those type of matches where you just hold on to it until you're ready for just the right moment. This gives a little bit more urgency to it.
Something I would like them to add. I keep finding myself in this specific situation, and it's kind of a slight thing, but I really wish they would add same system multiplayer for battle arenas, because in quick play you can have your friend play with you on the same console in the room with you, but you can't do that in battle arenas, so you can't, for example, have two of you get online and play with your friends. It can only be one player, you have to switch off. So that is some functionality I would like to see them add in a future patch, but it's a very specific thing, so I don't know if they actually will.
I was a little disappointed that they didn't add any new modes, because Smash Ultimate, as big as it is, it all comes down to fighting. There aren't really any side modes, and I want like Home Run Contest or Break the Targets or something like that. And I think Home Run Contest was data mined a long time ago. And I was kind of expecting it to appear here, but I guess we're going to have to keep waiting for that to show up.
Maybe they're just trying to space it out, since they gave us a new mode in the previous patch. Maybe they just kind of want to space that out if they don't have that much coming.
Yeah, maybe every other update. Since we have 5, we'll get three new modes.
Because I guess Stage Builder was pretty hefty, even if I don't use it a lot personally. That was a pretty hefty addition, so maybe they're just trying to space that out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
You don't hear about Stage Builder that much anymore, though.
It was big when it came out, but then it kind of fizzled out for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although there are some... I actually was browsing through the online gallery the other day, and people keep making some really cool stages that are actually... They look like they'd be fun to play on. So there isn't a lot of hype around it anymore, but I still think people are utilizing it.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, any final thoughts on the Hero or the new patch update that's coming out?
I like that they kept trying to push Dragon Quest XI-S, because that game looks super good, and I hope that if people enjoy the Hero that they'll give that game a go, because I'm super excited for it. And that game has made me more excited to play as the Hero in Smash. So if you're interested in Hero, just give it a look at. We have some preview coverage up for it. Look at the game and see if it does anything for you.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments completely. Dragon Quest XI-S, John, you and I previewed it. We both thought it was a blast. It looks really promising. So definitely, don't sleep on that game. Check it out if you have any interest in it whatsoever. And as for Hero himself, I think he looks super cool, and I am very, very happy for Dragon Quest fans today. I think your day has finally come, and you deserve it. And now onward to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one more question for you guys. Which hero are you going to play as? And is it the one with the mouse in his pocket?
I am tempted to leave. If I had to rank them, I'd probably go 8, 11, 3, 1 or 3, 4.
I think I'd agree.
I think I'd have to go 11, 3, 4, 8. Actually, I don't.
Wait, you're putting Munchie at the bottom?
Well, I don't know which one has the mouse in its pocket.
8.
Oh, I
for
didn't know
Munchie.
that. Okay, 8 wins then. I didn't know that. Okay, so 8 first, just because of the mouse, and then I'm going
Okay.
to say 11, 3, and 4, or 3, 11, and 4.
I was going to say, like, do you hate Munchie?
I didn't know. Okay,
How could
now
you
he
hate
wins.
Munchie?
I know, I'm terrible.
But yes, 11 does make a perfect entry point for this series. So if you enjoy playing Hero tonight, if you get a chance to play Hero tonight, let's cross our fingers for those servers. Yeah, definitely check out that game. But for now, I think that covers it for our Dragon Quest Hero in Smash discussion. So thank you for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on the hero, including plenty of videos about everything he's capable of tonight and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.